Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the FRS build. Today I'm going to be installing the engine into the FRS. This is basically just a trial fit, just so I can make sure everything is in the right place. I got to pull it back out because I got to paint the bay, and when I paint the bay I'm going to paint the interior. But before we get to that, I want to go over a lot of the little details of what's involved with installing the Sikky swap kit and what you need to do to get the car ready to be able to put the LS platform engine into your FRS. Okay, first thing, I'm gonna get down here so I can show you guys. Your kit is gonna come with these small spacers. You're gonna get 8 of them. And they'll come in a bag, and they won't tell you what they're for, but they're to drop the subframe down. So you're going to put one in the front, one in the back, on both sides. You can see there. And then the other 4 are going to go on the back of the bracket here that connects the subframe to the actual frame of the vehicle. So there's 2 there. There's 1 on each. There's 2 bolts here. So there's one for each. And then you can see on that side there's 2 there. So just take that into consideration for when you are looking through your bag of bolts and goodies when you get the Sikky kit. And that's something that they don't explain to you in the video. You may be able to catch it in their video when they're showing you about the engine and the design and engineering behind everything, but it's pretty hard to see. So I decided that I was going to try and help you guys out and show you exactly where those things go. So the next thing is the trans tunnel. They tell you this. They tell you that needs to come out. So there are a ton of spot welds that run up all the way around on the front here and the back here, and then there's a couple in the center. I don't know if you guys can see that. So you got to drill all those out. I used a spot weld drill bit, which made this go really fast. And I'll show you the kit. This is it right here. The spot weld cutter kit. It comes with 3 drill bit heads, and then it's got a spring-loaded drill bit. So when you are drilling, this will push down, and then obviously the spot weld cutter will take care of the rest. You got to go slow to make sure that you don't slip off or anything like that. But the kit number is right there, 11096. This thing saved me a ton of time. However, it still took me about 3 hours to cut through all those, and there's maybe 50 welds, but yeah, it took forever. So okay, second thing that I want to show you guys, well, third, sorry, I just showed you the second. Third thing is the transmission bracket, and I'm going to show you the inside here. It comes with a hole in there that aligns to a pre-existing bolt hole, so you can thread a 10 mil bolt in there and align that, and then from there you can drill the holes. So it comes with these sandwich plates. So the small one goes up top, and the big one down here goes on the bottom. But in order to get this to fit, there's a hump right here. So you need to hammer this down a little bit, and then there's quite a bit of body sealer here. So you got to grind this down, sand it down, whatever, in order to get this bracket to sit flat. So grind this down, the sealer, this bracket sits flat. Hammer this down, this hump down, this bracket sits flat. And then it'll also come with 4 long bolts, and then 4 shorter bolts. Long bolts go through the bottom, short bolts go through the side. And I will show you underneath. Here is the transmission bracket. Here's that 10 mil bolt that you can align with. This is already threaded in the vehicle and the frame rail. So put that on there and then come back, center punch all of your bolt holes. There's also a hole already here in this front one. What I recommend doing, what I did, is I did these top 2, put that bracket on the sandwich plate on the inside so I could hold this in place. Then I came back and I did this one, this bottom rear one, and then I saved this one for last because there's a little bit of play. You can see that it doesn't completely sit flush against the frame or transom, whatever. So if you decide that you want to do this one first, this thing's going to walk on you and you might not get a centered hole. So my advice, you don't have to take it, is like I said, do these ones, bolt that plate on there, hold it in place, and then come back, do the rear one, and then do the front one, and then you should be good. So there's both of them. And also the angle, so this is flat on this side, on the back side here. I'm gonna put that down there. Yep, so this is flat and there's an angle. The angle goes towards the front of the vehicle. So this 10 mil bolt and this hole that's close to it are on the rear side. So that goes towards the rear of the vehicle. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, I went back and I scoured the Sikky videos, you know, just trying to pinpoint where everything was. And so yeah, so this is, like I said, this is information that they don't give you in those videos. So I wanted to try and play this out for you guys because I know that there's constantly questions from people. I had questions myself. So if I can help, that's what I'm trying to do. Also, this is not necessarily a requirement, but Sikky suggested it to massage this area in. You can see maybe from this way. For a little bit more clearance for the headers. The headers, they say, will fit without doing this, but they suggested that you do this. So I did this to both sides, just a little bit, not much. And yeah, so I gotta see, once I put the engine in, I gotta see if this bracket needs to be moved. They said that it doesn't, but Sikky makes a relocation kit that comes with longer lines, and it moves, I think it moves this bracket up to this hole up here, but I'm not positive. So because I'm going to be, well, one, I got rid of the ABS, and I'm going to be making different brake lines. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to try and keep this here and see what happens. The other thing is I don't know if this has to come out. They don't tell you that. This bracket right here that covers the fuel lines. So we're going to see if that needs to come out. And then this bracket up here that used to hold the braces that went to the strut tower on the factory setup. So I don't know if that needs to come out either. But we're going to find out once we put the engine in and see what else we have to modify. All right, got the engine on the hoist, as you can see. I'm ready to throw it in and see how everything fits up. Okay, so I got the engine just kind of suspended here right now, and I'm already making contact with this bracket here for the cover bracket of the fuel lines. So I think that this needs to get removed, and then possibly the fuel lines need to get pushed, maybe bent a little bit backwards towards the firewall. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the engine back out and take this thing off, try and throw it back in and see if there's any, well, there should be more room, but yeah, I'm coming in contact with the head here, so I want to go ahead and pull that out. Alright, engine is in the car. I moved that bracket so everything fits now. But the only issue I'm having is I can't get the headers to sit flush because, I don't know if you can see down in there, but there's a bracket, there's a little block for the brake lines. And those, I think, that needs to get moved. See it hitting down there, so that needs to get moved out of the way. I recall in the Sikky video they said that you didn't actually need to move those, but I clearly do. So other good news is that it clears the steering rack modification. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift the car up and see where I can move the bracket to for the brake lines, and then hopefully the headers will fit flush against the engine. Got the driver's side header on, and I want to show you guys what it looks like with the rack and everything and brake lines. I moved the brake lines, but I want you guys to see this. So there's plenty of room for the rack. Rack relocation, even though they say that it will not work on their website, but it's probably just more of like a let me cover myself type of thing. So as you can see here, I relocated the brake splitter, whatever you want to call this thing, and I brought it from up here to down here. Everything clears. You can see that it clears the header. I might put some heat shielding on this just to protect this. So what I gotta do is I gotta get, I know that Sikky makes a kit, but frankly I can make it for much cheaper than what they sell it for. So I gotta get 2 adapter fittings, M10 to 3AN. So I'm gonna do that and then run lines. Now here's the big problem though, is the collector here in V-band hits the fuel lines, the factory fuel lines. So I went back and I looked into their video, and in the video you don't see any fuel lines right there. So I don't know if they decided to run their own fuel lines or what, if they didn't have them in for when they shot their video. But I'm gonna give them a call and try and figure out exactly what they did and try and see if I can match that. If I gotta run new lines, I'm gonna be a little upset because I wasn't planning on it. But it is what it is. If I have to, I have to. I will figure it out. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you guys that there are some clearance issues with the Sikky swap kit. It's not entirely just drop in and go. So you have to modify a couple things, move some things around, which I mean, you're doing an engine swap, so like it's kind of expected, but they kind of, you know, market this thing as a, you know, it's just ready to, they did all the engineering work for you, and which they did a lot of it, but like I said, it's just a lack of information, and that's why I'm making this video and the other videos, so that way you guys can see what really goes into making this stuff work, and it's not just a you know, let's promote our product and show you what it looks like and show you some of the steps behind it and not all of the steps. So yeah, like I said, going to give them a call, see what they did. I'm not gonna close out this video. I want you guys to see this all as one whole thing. So when I get the fuel lines, I don't know what I want to do. One other thing I want to show you guys, the bracket that's back here for the braces that went to the strut towers from on the FA20 engine. You do not need to remove this. There's plenty of clearance here. So if that's any consolation for what you've already had to do on the engine swap, just know that you do not need to remove that. Hello there from the future. I wanted to take this time to share with you guys the information that I was seeking towards the end of my video there, from Sikky and some of the other things that I've gone ahead and done in the meantime. So as you guys can see, that things are a little different since the last time you saw it. Painted the engine bay as well as the interior. Got a lot of parts in here. Brake booster and the Sikky relocation for the slave cylinder, sorry, not slave cylinder, but the clutch master. Some chase bays parts, headers are in, steering rack location is in there. What I ended up having to do, when I called Sikky, they told me that they ran a -6 line and they did not need to run both lines because there were 2 lines going from the tank to the engine on the FA20, but both of those lines split and go to, well, sorry, they don't split, they go into one line and feed into the tank, and then there's an evap line that comes off. So what they did was they ran a -6 line through the trans tunnel to the fuel pump, and no regulator or anything like that, because the factory FRS regulator runs at 58 psi, which is what you need for an LS. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys underneath. I don't have it all done yet, but I just want to show you kind of what I'm working on and what you guys need to do to run the fuel line. All right, as you can see, here's the fuel line. It's coming up over top of the head there and the valve cover. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this up as tight as I can along the top of the trans tunnel here. And then I've got these P-clamps from Vibrant. Now that line is a -6 line, and these are 1/2" inner diameter line, or P-clamps. So these should work just fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put riv nuts in all along, so that way I can easily take the clamps off and along there. Also, I want to show you guys, so I'm going to be running E85, so I have a flex fuel sensor, and I'm going to be mounting it right about here in line with the fuel line, and then it's going to come back and make the turn and go around to the fuel tank. Actually made this bracket. It's just a 3D printed bracket, and it's, you know, snaps in here. It's pretty neat. So it just slides in like that. Pretty positive engagement. And then I also have a little brace. That's just kind of a safety feature. Hopefully it works. So yeah, so that's that's basically it. This evap line too, that's dangling off right here. I think from what I've been hearing is that people are just kind of capping this thing off. I think that's what I'm going to do, but I don't know exactly where I'm going to cap this thing off. Probably somewhere here in the middle of the chassis to be on the safe side, and preferably away from the exhaust. Oh, I also wanted to show you guys, so I was incorrect in moving the brake line bracket down to here. Technically it could work, but I went back and I watched the Sikky video and they said they ran a self-tapper in here into the sway bar mount, but I didn't want to run a self-tapper again. I'm not a fan of self-tappers, so what I did was I just drilled a hole, and then I'm going to be running a bolt with a nut on the back. But again, this was a little too close for comfort for me, being up here to the header, so I still need to throw this on here, but this will be down here and a lot further away from the exhaust. And then I have my lines coming up and around, much similar to the Sikky kit, and then they go up there to the to a chase base splitter, 3-3 AN splitter, and then to their bias valve. Like I said, that was what I wanted to show you guys, since I got the information from Sikky, so I wanted to share that with you. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. I hate when that happens to me. But like I said, hopefully you guys can use this information on your builds and not be as frustrated. And I'm interested to see what you guys, if you guys come up with anything, you know, leave something in the comments. If you've got different ideas, I'm willing to listen to them, and you know, maybe you got something cool that I can add to this or do differently. So yeah, feel free to please leave a comment. You know, let me know if you're enjoying the progress of the car. I am, now that, especially now that the engine bay and everything is painted. You know, this thing's gonna really start to come together. So we got a lot more stuff to do still. I'm waiting on a couple small parts and some tools, so that way I can finish some things up, and then we'll get going on more content here and some more videos. And you know, thanks again, and I really hope you guys appreciate the stuff that I'm doing here, and I really appreciate you guys checking this stuff out and liking and subscribing and doing all that stuff. So thank you again, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.